Greetings everyone, Ray Landis here with another guitar adventure, and today I want to speak with you about this guitar and primarily some of the cosmetic things that I did to it. Some of the cosmetic upgrades, cover-ups to make it look halfway respectable. So this guitar was given to me by a friend. And it was in really bad shape when I got it. It even had a hole right here in the side wall, and lots of scratches and dings, lots of things that just made this, look really beat up and not a respectable instrument. But I set out to try to fix it and make it so that it would be a nice guitar in my collection, because for one, this guitar sounds really good. I don't know if you can hear it through that mic setup I have. So it really does have a nice resonant sound to it, and it's probably because this guitar is about 40 years old. Wait a minute, let's see. At least 40 years old. It's probably closer to maybe 50. But it's made by Yamaha. It is what they call an FG-331 concert size. So it's a little smaller than the Dreadnought. It's easier to handle. But it does have quite a big sound to it. And this guitar is in the low end of their guitars, and was in the low end of their guitars, probably in the $200 to $300 range. I think you can still buy these, the newer version of them, for under $300. So it's a nice instrument, but being it's 40 years old, 40 years plus, it has a really nice aged wood sound and resonant. So it's something really good that I didn't want to lose, even though it looked horrible. So I set out to make this guitar look a little nicer and have a little bit of a theme to it, so that I could easily explain away why it was so beat up. But I think now it's one of the favorites in my collection. Even being in a low-end instrument category, it really does have a great sound. So I went ahead and I did a little bit of body art there, and these are body decals made by the same company that makes the fret markers. It's called Giacomo fret markers, and they can be purchased from Amazon or right from Giacomo. And I thought that would be cool to kind of give it like a boho beach theme. I also put the fret markers on from the same company, Giacomo, and I did the palm trees. And then you'll see I got the palm tree pattern on the headstock. But this guitar didn't look like this when I first got it. It was really beat up. It had these machine heads on it. If you can see those. These are open gear machine heads. And they didn't really feel very good. I mean, I think they could be fixed up. Maybe they could be restored. But they didn't feel very good, and they didn't stay in tune very well. They had these little covers on there, and this screw goes through part of the cover, and then it required the bushings like a vintage style guitar tuner. So I took the bushings out and took the tuners off, and that made the headstock look even worse. So I ended up with this really gnarly looking headstock, and the body didn't look too good. The wood on the neck was really dry. The wood on the bridge, this bridge wood, was very dry, and the frets were like really dirty, and they were like gritty. The nut was broken right here, and the guitar, other than sounding good if you could get it in tune, was really just a little too far gone for me to like feel like I wanted to keep it in my collection. I do want to keep it in my collection now. So I set out to fix it up. I polished the body. I used, at first I used some crud cutter on the body, because it was covered with crud. So I could use the crud cutter. And I got the body clean. I was able to polish it and then put these body decals on. I polished all the frets. I put the fret markers on. I got a new nut for it, and when I got the new nut, I put new pegs in, string pegs, bridge pegs here, and a new bridge. So all of this plastic has been replaced. And when I took the tuners out, these bushings left a really nasty mark on the headstock. So I was kind of bummed out about that, thinking that's going to be a game changer. That's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. This won't be in my collection. This will be in the dumpster maybe. But no, I stuck with it, and I thought, I can maybe do something to this headstock that's not been done before, inexpensively, and to make it look respectable. And this is what I came up with. If you look at the back of the headstock, you can still see the holes from the original tuners, and it's a little gnarly, but you don't always look at that, so I was okay with that. And these are PRS tuners that came off of my Hollow Body 2. I upgraded those tuners to locking tuners, and so I had these tuners laying around, and they were 6x6, so I put them on this, and it worked, So these tuners work great, and they keep this thing in really good tune. It's got great tuning stability. So back to the headstock. What did I have to do to this headstock? Well, now, at first glance, it looks like shelf paper. It's not. It's actually vinyl. It's designed, I think, for the inside of car, like dashboards and different things that you would do inside of a car to make it look like, wood. And the way that you put this on is the same way you put on a car decal. You wet the surface, you float the vinyl on top, and then you squeegee out the water. You take the water, you put a little tiny bit of soap in it, you spray it on, you move it around, you put this on top, and then you squeegee out the water. And I did that to the headstock, and then I cut with a razor and cut it to the edge just nice, and it really does look like a nice edge. I brought it in from the edge about 2 millimeters, and it looks really good. I mean, you can't tell that it's not really part of the headstock. And then I ran the truss rod cover over it, and I ran the washers for the 10 millimeter tuners over top of it. And then I realized I had another problem. The logo didn't show through, and I still wanted it to be known and seen as a Yamaha. So my son went on and looked for a design template for a Yamaha logo, and he was able to print that on his 3D printer. And that is slightly raised, and it's kind of thin, and that glued on top of the vinyl, and it stuck perfectly. Perfect cosmetic fix. And then I thought, I'm not quite satisfied with it yet. So I went and I wanted to get a palm tree decal to match the palm trees on the neck and the palm trees on the body, to kind of pull all the pieces together. And I found this silhouette palm tree. It's a design that's made for cars in the back window down the corner, and it's the same type of decal where you float it on with a little bit of soapy water, squeegee it out, and I did that, and this turned out really, really nice. Now, I don't claim to be an expert, repair technician on guitars. I don't think I would try to fix a vintage instrument and restore it back to original. I don't know, if I would try that, and I would probably have it sent off to an expert if the guitar was worth, as a collector's item, a lot of money. But if you have a cheaper instrument and you want to make it look a little bit better, and you want to make that instrument respectable, you can do some things at home that will bring back a nice look to an old instrument. And I used some special cleaner on this. It was some Fender cleaner. I used some Fender cleaner on the wood of the fretboard, and I also used some fret erasers for cleaning up the frets, and there's no sharp edges. The guitar itself is really nice because it's a concert size. It's not the large dreadnought, it's the concert size. It feels good, it sounds good, it's a great extra guitar, and I think I'm going to keep it in my collection because it's good, you know. So I hope that this has inspired somebody to think of ideas that you could use to fix something that's broken, and not think that you have to go to an expert luthier, because I'm definitely not an expert luthier. But I like working on guitars. I like fixing and designing and modifying guitars. I have a lot of fun doing it. It's very inspiring to me. I like playing the instruments that I make and that I service, and I've given some of them away. But if you take some time and research a few things, you can find ways to do certain things that are not necessarily the orthodox way of doing it, but you can come up with something really, really great. So if I've inspired someone to take an old instrument and go back, you know, and look it over, fix it up, figure out a way to make it into more playable, more pleasingly aesthetic in value, then give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time for the next guitar adventure. Take care.